Hi there, everyone. My name is Prerak Juthani, and I'm actually an internal medicine resident at Stanford. And today I want to go over what matters most for residency based on the 2021 NRMP, National Residency Matching Program, Program Director Survey. This is actually really insightful and something that I thought I got a lot of value out of despite having already matched. And so hopefully it helps you all as you're preparing for the match, especially if you're in medical school. So with that being said, here's the details of the Program Director Survey. It's conducted by NRMP in even years. And so in this case, it seems like it was conducted in 2020, and this is now the results in 2021. And it's actually used to provide insight into what works well and what isn't working, and they're ultimately, making changes. Here is the specific source, and you can look at the PDF in the description below, but you can also just look up 2021 NRMP survey and you'll see this stuff. And you can see that they send out surveys to a lot of program directors. This is the first column here. The second column shows you the number that respond, and the third column is the response rate, which is the second column divided by the first column. Today we will be focusing entirely on internal medicine, which is this column right here. This row. And you can see that 533 surveys were sent out, and of that, 127 responded for a response rate of about 23.8%. Of those 127 program directors that responded, there are insights that can be gleaned, but I want you to know that there were also around 400 program directors that did not respond. But of the 127 that did respond, here's some of the insight that we have. Around 2,906 applications was the average number that a single program got. Of that, 1,645 were rejected on a standardized screen, 749 got holistic review, 281 interviews were sent out, 240 applicants were interviewed, and 212 applicants were ranked. So you can see this nice curve that's going downwards, and that shows you the insight into how competitive a single residency program can be. And again, notice that this is an average of an average internal medicine residency program of the 124 program directors that responded. Right? This is kind of just highlighting some of the points I just made. Notice that 56% of individuals were rejected based on a pre-applicant screen. I don't know what that screen is. I don't know what goes into that screen, but of the people that actually got holistic review, you can see that only about 25% of applicants got holistic review. It's kind of discouraging, but at the same time, it kind of shows you why people are applying to so many programs, because it just makes it so tough when a program gets 3,000 applicants and the chance that your application will be holistically reviewed, just purely statistically speaking, is 25%. Obviously, this is going to change based on your STEP score. Chances are higher your STEP score, more likely you'll be holistically reviewed. But the fact that only 25% gets holistically reviewed is a little scary. And then on top of that, only about 10% of applicants get an interview, period. That, again, obviously is going to be higher for someone who is a competitive applicant and lower for someone who isn't. But again, it's very subjective as to what makes someone competitive, right? There's a few objective measures that go in there, but it's still tougher to know. So I'm going to interrupt the programming here because there is something that I want to share. PICMONIC sponsored this video, so I just want to give a big shout out to them. One thing I'm going to show you all coming up is that step 2 mattered a lot, and step 1 did as well in terms of when deciding who to interview based on the program director's thoughts. And PICMONIC has incredible videos that make things a little bit easier to understand. And believe it or not, even if you don't buy the subscription, if you want to, you can. It's linked below. You can actually do one of these videos and do a quiz for free every day. So feel free to sign up and make the account. It's basically learning through cartoons, which makes studying fun. Check it out. The links below. Make a free account, see if you like it, and feel free to get a subscription. And now back to this programming. And now here is another graph, very insightful. This is broken down by step 1, step 2 CK, step 2 CS, and step 3. Obviously, step 2 CS is no longer a test, which is great. And also step 1 is now just pass fail. But notice that because this is from 2021, there were probably some individuals who still had step 1 and some individuals who were applicants who still had step 2 CS, which is why they're still here. But what is interesting, though, is if you look at the purple, you can see that this is basically saying that they required a target score. And then the light blue said that they preferred but do not require a target score. And then green says that they required a pass only. And then this teal, I guess, is do not consider. Interestingly, the good part is that they do not consider step 3 for most MD applicants. They do consider step 3 for IMGs, because I'm sure that's probably affected by visa. For step 1, step 2 TK, and steps 2 CS, Sadly, it seems like even when step one was out of a number, 66% considered it at some point based on a score, and only 34% considered if you passed. Now, hopefully, because it's all pass fail, they're only going to care about whether or not you pass. And interestingly, step 2 CK, 70% of the time they did still consider it. And I'm thinking that this is going to go much higher now that we're actually in the era where step 2 actually only has a number. Specifically for IMGs, I think for almost all of them, there was a target score, which is interesting. There's a target score for step 1 and a target score for step 2 CK. Not as much of a target score percentage-wise for USMD applicants, but still present. Next up, I want to talk about the other things into what makes a good interview applicant. Like how do they decide who to interview? And notice that the second big thing here is the MSPE, which is a letter. And then outside of that was your step 1 score and step 2 CK score. Obviously, this is drastically different now because there is a step 2 CK score, but there isn't a step 1 score. It's just a pass fail. I'm sure they're still going to look at it to see if it matters or not. But at the same time, this value right here, any failed attempt at USMLE might just go higher because you're going to have a pass or fail. Then they also have the class ranking for certain people who actually do have rankings, and they also have the consistency of your grades that matters, right? And so clearly there's a lot going on here. And then there's another thing that's then decided on what to rank. So the previous one is deciding who to interview. But once you interview, here's some insight into what matters in your interview, right? Your interpersonal skills, your interactions with faculty, the feedback from the current residents, interactions with the house staff. All these things that you may not know is having an impact is actually having quite a big impact. And so it's important for you to kind of play these things accordingly, because things that you may not have thought are important are, right? There's going to be NRMP flags, for example, for a match violation that actually does, for example, happen, right? Having to overcome obstacles, leadership quality, professionalism, and ethics. One thing that I was actually surprised by that doesn't matter as much as I thought it would is the personal statement. Once you have an interview, only 61.9% of people decided, whom to rank and how to rank them based on their personal statement. So you need to have a good personal statement, but by no means does it need to be, amazing. So hopefully you found this helpful. I personally did. If you like this video, please drop a like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.